My friend, today I would like to talk to you about 7 very common mistakes pretty much all self-taught guitar players make. And this comes from a player that started out self-taught as well, especially when it comes to guitar technique. So over the last years, I had to correct a lot of bad habits when it comes to my picking technique and also my fretting hand technique. That's super tedious and frustrating, and it's not what I want for you. So allow me to show you these 7 mistakes and how you can easily fix them. The first one we will start out with concerns the fretting hand. So as you're building your fretting hand technique, it's no secret that you want your fingers close to the neck to get the best amount of speed and control out of your playing. But honestly, a lot of self-taught players are working on the wrong exercises when it comes to that. They're mostly just playing through scales like this. So either ascending or descending scale runs, when in reality working with chords and arpeggios in a very interesting way when it comes to finger technique is a much faster way to reaching the goal of perfect finger technique, and this exercise is a great example. Check it out. Alright, as you could hear, this actually sounds kind of cool. This exercise is based on a very simple chord or arpeggio shape. And you're just playing on the D, G, and high E strings like this. And the reason why it's a great idea to work with shapes like this for your finger control is because the goal right here is keeping the fingers in this exact position. So as if you were playing the chord, but you want those notes to be separated. So after every single note that you play, you lift your finger gently so that it doesn't press down anymore, but it's still hovering above the string. Just like this, so the fingers are staying in place and I'm just pressing down whenever I need the finger on each fret, and I'm lifting the other finger slightly that I don't want to ring out. And this is a much faster way of teaching your fingers to stay close to the neck than just using one finger at a time when you're playing a scale run. Because with exercises like this, your fingers are staying in place, hovering across the neck, which is what you want them to do in a practical context to play stuff like this. Now the next topic I'd like to talk to you about both concerns creativity and technique, and it's about players mostly sticking to 2-note per string phrases or 3-note per string phrases. I think this is something you're quite familiar with, so most guitar players either stick to 2-note per string stuff, which is usually pentatonic stuff, or the classic 3-note per string shred lines. And they never really explore anything outside of that area, which is why a lot of guitar players feel they play the same boring licks all the time. So let me show you a really cool exercise to fix that. So for this workout, I was playing a 4-note per string scale phrase. So instead of the 2-note per string pentatonic approach or 3-note per string approach, I'm extending it to 4 notes on one string. And the first thing you will learn when you do that is how to actually stretch, because your thumb has to be in the perfect position for your fingers to stretch out like this. It won't be possible to play 4-note per string stuff if you're always playing like this. So once again, your thumb should be behind the neck to support your fingers. And your thumb also has to wander around and follow your fingers as you're playing this. So your grip must be light. You can't press like this because your thumb will stay anchored in one position. So it's a great technical workout. But practicing phrases like this will also enhance your creativity, because when you're improvising, you will suddenly start seeing phrases differently once you see that one additional note on each string, and that will definitely help you with breaking out of a rut when it comes to creativity. The third common mistake I'd like to talk to you about today is something that concerned me for a very long time as well, and it's about mixing techniques creatively in your practice routine. Because most of the time you're just working on alternate picking for a while, then on sweep picking, then on legato for example, and you never really work on licks where you have to combine all of those different techniques. But this is really important because you want freedom all across the neck for your ideas, and you want to be able to creatively combine different techniques at any time. So in order to learn how to do that naturally as you're improvising and writing solos, allow me to show you one of my all-time favorite exercises when it comes to this. So this one's really cool because it has that harmonic minor sound. but it also has a lot of different techniques. So first of all, you're starting out with alternate picking, just so the first 3 notes are down, up, down. Then you're going into sweep picking. And you want your pinky once again to remain close to the fretboard. Then you're going into legato, so you're hammering on and pulling off the next phrase. Pay attention to string noise right here, you don't want it to sound like this. So muting the sandwiching strings, so to say, with your index finger really helps to clean up your results. Then you're going back down with sweep picking. And then you're just finishing the phrase like you started it. It's a great daily practical exercise when it comes to combining techniques effectively. By the way, my friend, if I could already help you with this free guitar lesson video, please allow me to help you much more on your personal guitar journey, because I would love to welcome you as my student for real in my online guitar academy. The link is down below, patreon.com/Bernd. Let me take you behind the scenes real quick. So as you will log in as a member of my academy, you will get weekly new exercises and exclusive practice packages here on the home feed. As you can see right here, it says download this week's practice package here, and then you have a link. When I click that link, you can see that every single practice package comes with play-along videos so that you can practice together with me in your routine. These always come at slow tempos, so that you can really internalize the exercise together with me. And then of course I'm also challenging you with faster play-along videos to push your technique. Last week's workout package contained a full daily scale workout that you just have to click on every single day, and you're playing through all the most important guitar scales together with me. So it starts with the modes of natural, major and minor. And it's around 8 minutes long every single day, so just 8 minutes every day to play through all the most important scales and to really internalize them. Of course, you also get a PDF tab sheet for everything so that you can print it if you want to, or just save it on your phone, tablet, laptop, whatever you use. And every single lesson like the one we're talking about today comes with guitar profiles like this, so that you can change the tempo as you're practicing. Let's say I want to change the tempo of this one to 20 beats per minute to really take it slow and to internalize the workout. Then you can practice to the slow track like this, and those files also come with full instrumentation with bass and drums, so that it doesn't feel that sad and lonely as you practice at home. This week's downloadable practice package is called Guitar Mastery Drills, because those are the exact exercises that took my self-taught, pretty terrible technique to world-class professional standards. So I'm very confident they will do the exact same for you. So just click the link down below, become my student for real today. Can't wait to welcome you inside, but now let's continue with the next exercise. As you could hear, this exercise sounds really cool. It has that kind of neoclassical vibe to it. And what I want to discuss with this one briefly is that most self-taught players always go for very linear riffs. So either ascending or descending. And it's just not very interesting to listen to. It sounds more like an exercise. So aside from the 4-note per string trick I showed you, there's also another really cool and easy trick called the pedal note trick. So for this lick, I always emphasized one note that I was always returning to for both phrases. It was F at first and then E. So I was essentially just playing through a scale, but after every single note I was returning back to the highest note. That is very simple, but it has such a great effect. It sounds so cool. And the second thing I did here to make it more interesting is I was playing it in triplets, although those are kind of groups of 2. So you hear it as 16th notes or 8th notes, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. But I was actually playing triplets right here. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and so on. So that's a really cool lick and exercise to learn that pedal note trick. And you will also learn how to play groups of 2 as triplets, which sounds much more interesting than just playing groups of 3 as triplets all the time. The next very important topic I'd like to talk about is picking control, because most guitar players are very obsessed with picking speed, but if you're not perfectly in control over every single picking stroke, your hands will never really be synchronized, you will get stuck between the strings, so control should be your #1 priority. And this is pretty much my favorite exercise when it comes to that. So what that is a very simple workout that I based on one of the most common arpeggio shapes. I'm sure you know this A minor shape, but we're doing something completely different right here. We're playing 16th notes, but just one note on every string, and not with sweep picking, with alternate picking. So you have to be perfectly in control of your alternate picking. Playing just one note per string is very, very difficult. First you're ascending, then you're playing it back down, and everything played with alternate picking. And what's also interesting is that you have a long break after every single faster burst of alternate picking here. So you have to focus on starting perfectly in time for the next speed burst. That's why it's such an effective control exercise. You're learning how to follow the strings with your picking movement like this, because you don't want your hands to be anchored like that and to follow the strings like this. You want your hands to really follow every single string so that you get the same picking angle and picking dynamics for each string. And it's also great for your timing, because you have to time your rests perfectly and start exactly at the next beat of the next repetition. The next extremely important topic most self-taught players are pretty much never working on is weak finger training and development. And I'm not just talking about the flying pinky finger right here. I'm talking about not using your stronger fingers at all for certain exercises and only working with your two weaker fingers. So for this upcoming exercise, I want you to closely focus on the fingers that I'm using for this and how I'm actually practicing it. Check it out. As you're watching this video, you might be thinking that doesn't look too hard, it's not extremely fast or technical, but I dare you to give it a try. It's super awkward, especially if your weaker fingers aren't really trained yet, because usually you're anchoring with your index finger to help out your weaker fingers, but that is actually a bad habit. You should always only feel and move one finger at a time, and this takes a while, but it's a great exercise for your finger control. And the last topic I want to talk to you about today is extremely important for your fretting hand technique as well, because let's face it, most self-taught players never really work on stretching, and a lot of players are kind of afraid of playing stuff like this. It looks very intimidating, but by actively training your stretching movements and working on licks in this section of the fretboard where you have to stretch quite a bit, will make your music and licks sound much more interesting, because wider spaced notes result in some really, really cool scale lines. And here's one of my favorite exercises when it comes to this. So for this one you have to stretch quite far from the 3rd fret all the way to the 8th fret, and that might look intimidating at first, especially if you have smaller fingers. But please remember that the thumb position is everything right here. So once again, if your thumb is sticking out from behind the neck like this, or it's placed in a weird kind of position, it's also impossible for me to stretch this far, so I could never reach the 8th fret with a fretting hand technique like this. But as soon as I move it down in the area behind my middle finger, it's very, very easy, and I could stretch even further than that if I wanted to. So always think about the thumb as you're trying this, and you also don't want to feel any pain in your fingers. So don't grip the neck too hard or stretch with pure force like this. Just keep your hands super relaxed, place it like this, and play through the exercise. And you will see that this sounds really, really interesting, and it doesn't look how it sounds like somehow, because as guitarists we're not really used to super broad spaces in between the notes like this. But to me this results in very, very interesting scale lines, and it's something almost all self-taught guitar players really, really neglect in their practice routines. Alright my friend, you completed the first very important step watching this video, but now it's actually time to get to work and to start practicing with this week's awesome practice package. Once again, this brand new practice package includes play-along videos at slow and fast tempos, backing tracks with and without my guitar, detailed guitar profiles and PDF tab sheets, so everything you need to take your technique to the next level. And as a student in my online guitar academy, you also get access to all of my premium guitar courses. So it's a no-brainer. Become my student today by clicking the link down below. I hope we still have some free slots for this month. I'm waiting for you inside. Have an amazing day. Greetings from LA, and bye-bye.